Rev up your engines!
Well, I've seen that Volkswagen is now going to be selling Scouts, not the International Scouts, because Volkswagen owns the rights to International, so they're going to be making Scout pickup trucks and SUVs. And now they say they're going to bypass the dealers and you can buy them direct. The Scout Traveler and the Scout Terra, the truck and the SUV, are going to be available to a direct consumer factory store, just like Tesla and Lucid do. Now, of course, the Volkswagen dealers are now fuming mad. We signed up for your dealerships and now you won't let us sell these things? They might be whining about it. We'll see how many they sell, if anybody's actually buying the things, because I think the hype for this electric crap is now over. If you look at Cybertrucks, they've been kind of a massive failure. 97% of the people who reserved a Cybertruck didn't buy one. Only 3% did. They're not even taking reservations anymore. And Scout is probably going to be to the party too little, too late. Americans don't really like the idea of an electric pickup truck. It doesn't fit in. Now, I've seen people in electric pickup trucks. You know what they are? The ones that I met? A lot of them were just yuppies. Their other car was a Tesla. They wanted to have an electric pickup truck. They weren't pickup truck people. The millions of people in the United States who own pickup trucks, they're a different breed from regular drivers. And they don't want to mess around with the electrical crap in a pickup. Now, I'm sure they'll sell some of these Scouts because, I got a Scout. Oh, well, there's enough dumb people out there. They'll get a name, they'll buy it just because it has a name on it, It says Prado. Oh, I'll buy it. It says Prado. Some people are just plain stupid, but for the majority of people, I don't foresee the Scout thing being any big splash in the pan. I doubt if they're going to sell millions of these things. They're still electric vehicles with all the hindrances they have. And even though they're calling them Scout, Volkswagen owns it. So they will be Volkswagen-made vehicles, and Volkswagen quality hasn't been that great for the last couple of decades. Ask anybody who's owned one. They've had a lot of problems. Even in Germany, they're having problems selling electric vehicles now. And they're saying they're going to have to lay off workers and shut down some of the factories. So I don't think the Scout is going to save anybody. Well, as I predicted, electric motorcycle companies are dying left, right, and center. They're just not popular, which is hilarious because electric bicycles are going haywire. People are buying them all over the place. I have friends that run bicycle shops and they said they can't keep up with them. People come in and buy them. They love them because they're fun, they're entertaining, right? But trying to make actual electric motorcycles, the problem arises in two ways. One, their range stinks. Now, an electric bicycle, how far you plan on going, right? Some of these electric motorcycles, maybe they can go 160 miles or something because they have regenerative braking, and you're only going 30 miles an hour, slow, right? But you take that same motorcycle, put it in the highway, go 75 miles an hour. Some of them, they will run out of electricity in 45 minutes. They'll have a range of like 60 miles, 70 miles. So that's useless for motorcycles. There's no range at all. Right? And then you're stranded in a motorcycle that's pretty heavy. They're heavy because the batteries weigh a lot. And one of the main reasons people get motorcycles is because they want something that's light and fun and they can drive it around. But if it doesn't go very far, what use is it? They tried a fuel like Buell, F-U-E-L-L instead of B-U-E-L-L, but it's gone bankrupt. It's gone. An Italian electric company called Energica, that's gone. They made electric motorcycles. Metacycle, French company, it's gone bankrupt. And here's the weirdest one. Cake, it's a Swedish company. It's called Cake. It made electric motorcycles. It's gone bankrupt. And although LiveWire, as far as I know so far, hasn't gone bankrupt, LiveWire lost $85 million in 2022, lost $125 million in 2023. Who knows how much they're going to lose in 2024. But they only sold a handful of motorcycles. For example, Harley-Davidson LiveWire, they're electric motorcycles, right? In 2022, they sold worldwide 597 of these things. And in 2023, they sold 660. It goes to show that electric motorcycles are not a thing. They're not going to be mass produced unless things change radically and they have better motor systems and battery systems. The big problem with battery-powered vehicles are you want to go fast for a long period of time. You need big, heavy batteries. People don't want big, heavy motorcycles. They take longer to recharge. Guys on motorcycle having fun riding around. They don't want to be sitting there for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours while it charges. They want to put a little gas in, and then 2 minutes later, zoom down the road they go. Let's face the facts. Electric motorcycles for people to drive drive seriously in aren't a thing. You can't get on your motorcycle and just ride out into the sunset for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles if you have an electric one. And all these companies failing pretty much proves it. Johnny Boy says, my car idles at 4,000 RPM some of the time. I got a 2001 Miata, and it just starts revving up, and then it stopped. I took it to a garage. They said they don't know what's wrong. Some garage, right? I say this all the time. Guys working in a garage are idiots these days half the time. Now, if your car revs that high, it almost always means your throttle has stuck. So the first thing you do would be watch my video, make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. The throttle opens and closes, but it can get carboned up, and dirt can get in there, and carbon, and then it sticks. So then it sticks open and it revs really high. It's a spray cleaner. It's called throttle spray cleaner. You can watch the video, make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. I have on YouTube. Show you how to take the ductwork off, spray it all, get all the carbon off, and that generally is going to fix it. In most new cars, that'll always fix it, but you got an old one, right? The old ones still have throttle cables. Your cable's probably binding in that case. Try the cleaner first, but if not, you're going to have to buy a new cable. They're metal cables, right? And they're strands, and eventually the strands start breaking and then they jam in. So you probably need a new throttle cable if the throttle cable is one. Look at both ends. If you see frayed bits of cable breaking off, you need a new cable assembly. Not that hard to change. Check it out. Look at this picture. All these hydrogen buses that have been abandoned. I read this great article. It was called How Many Hydrogen Transit Trial Failures Are Enough? And the guy went through the history of it. I didn't realize how deep it was. For quite some time, there have been hydrogen buses they tried, and they've all failed. Now, a lot of this information was done by this famous guy at Cambridge, David Sebon. He's the director of the Center for Sustainable Road Freight. This isn't some, right-wing fringe gal hates the stuff. He's actually for it, and they found that it just hasn't worked throughout history. Both Vancouver and Chicago tried hydrogen. Each had fuel cell buses with those Ballard fuel cells. 3 in Vancouver, 3 in Chicago. Both cities abandoned the trials. They said high capital cost, high maintenance cost, and in one case, long refueling times. And at least after this, Ottawa, the capital of Canada, said, no, we're not even going to try it. We learned something. Now, in Iceland, they had 3 hydrogen buses they tried. They went from 2001 to 2005. The trials cost 4 million euros per bus, and when the trial money ran up from the government who subsidized it, they mothballed them. And now there's no hydrogen buses at all in Iceland. And this is a country that gets free energy because they got all that hydrothermal hydrogen from water, H2O, right? They can do it. It doesn't hardly cost them anything because they got all that free energy. Even they said, nope. Now, for the Winter Olympics in 2010, Whistler, British Columbia, I've been there, beautiful place. They started a trial of 20 hydrogen buses, but they soon gave up too. They said they were maintenance nightmares. The water that came out of the fuel cell froze in the buses and left them disabled by the side of the road. And the green hydrogen that they used had to be shipped 4,500 kilometers from Quebec, where they made it, to the west coast of British Columbia. Think of the waste of energy of that, right? So they were abandoned 4 years later in 2014. They gave up there too. They have an implicit kind of agreement that they're not going to do it again, but guess what? British Columbia is starting to break it. As the writer of this article said, that is, quote, exemplifying the definition of insanity. They haven't learned anything. So they're doing it again. At the end of 2010, Sao Paulo, Brazil, they had 4 hydrogen buses they tested, and they gave up because they spent $16 million and they said it was impractical. In 2014, San Remo, Italy, picked up 5 hydrogen buses, and now they're not in operation anymore either. So, a lot of the stuff, maybe it's a good idea, but it's not ready for prime time. And nobody thinks of the ramifications of half this stuff. Look what happened in Vancouver. If you use hydrogen in fuel cells, the byproduct is electricity, heat, and water. Water vapor, right? Well, the water was freezing and making the buses stop. Did they even think about that? It gets kind of cold in British Columbia in the winter. Maybe we should have thought of that in the first place. And the last one, which really breaks me up, in 2019, the Commune of Paul was awarded 33 million euro in government grant. In 2022, 3 years later, the city council looked at it and said, running these buses cost us 6 times as much as running battery electric buses. And not only that, the hydrogen buses were a couple €100,000 more expensive than the battery electric bus. So they gave up too. So this whole thing that they think, oh yeah, hydrogen is the future. Maybe way, way in the future. Maybe when we have flying cars too, which of course have never come to fruition yet. Interesting technology, but ready for prime time? Obviously not. Most of these places, as soon as the government subsidy money went away, so did the hydrogen fuel cell buses. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.